Hi, and thank you for joining me on the Region Sports Desk. I'm making this video in response to what I saw last night on the Prep Football Report. Now, a lot of you watching this video probably watched the first edition of the Prep Football Report last night, in which Wayne Svetanoff, he makes his picks. He picks all the games in the region, and he also has his top 10 list. It really bothers me when you make a pick and you don't back it up. Wayne made a couple of big time picks, and I don't know if he did it because he was trying to excite the teams, excite Valpo's team, and excite Merrillville's team. Most of the picks he made, I agree with. I think a lot of the picks he made could go that way. Of course, he picked Lake Central to beat Munster, which it's probably going to be a good game, and that could legitimately happen. Two picks he made for two big games that are going on. One tonight being Penn against Valparaiso. He picked Valpo to beat Penn. I think it was 21-17. He picked Valpo to beat Penn. And I think that, I agree. I think that's a realistic pick. I think that could really happen. Then he goes to his big game, which is tomorrow night. Warren Central, the preseason #1 team, coming to Demery Stadium to play Merrillville. And what do you know? He picks Merrillville to upset Warren Central tomorrow night. And as I'm watching this, I'm going, what the hell is he thinking? Merrillville loses Deontay Day, Delapo McCarthy, the quarterback that's led them to 2 straight regionals. They lose their stud defensive end, Aaron Kazmarski. They lost Keith Dockery, their stud corner, and even their kicker, Ryan Stokes, who was the best kicker in the area last year. They lose a lot of key players. And we're talking about they lose key players from a team that got blown out by Warren Central last year. They got absolutely obliterated at Warren Central last year, 42-0. Yeah, they got the win by forfeit. But we're talking about with Delapo and with those other guys, Merrillville got smoked last year. And you're telling me with a junior quarterback, Zach Popovich, who hasn't shown anything. I think he played 3 or 4 games last year. He started 3 games, I believe. They lose to Crown Point, 10-7. We're talking about a bottom feeder in the DHC. They lost to Crown Point. They lost to Portage. Portage had a decent record last year, but Popovich did absolutely nothing in that game, and that's why a hurt Delapo came in to try to save the game for Merrillville and almost pulled it off. They almost lost to Griffith, a game they very well could have lost, and believe me, he had no part in them winning that game. It was the defense that came back and won that game for Merrillville. My point is, you're telling me that a junior quarterback that hasn't proven anything, that hasn't even played well against teams in the DAC, is going to beat Warren Central. I don't see any way possible that's going to happen. I'm telling you guys right now, that game is going to be a major blowout. I don't think Merrillville has any chance in the world of winning that game. And just to kind of put a little sugar on top of what Wayne says, he not only picks them to beat Warren Central, he not only picks Valpo to beat Penn. Guess who his #1 team is in the top 10? I mean, surely, if Merrillville is going to upset the preseason #1 team in state, Merrillville's got to be #1, right? Nah, they're not #1. Okay, what about Valpo? Valpo's playing against the perennial top 10 team, Penn. They're going to beat Penn tomorrow night, or actually tonight. They're going to beat Penn tonight. I'm sure Valpo's #1 then, right? Nah. His #1 team is Chesterton. His #2 team is Lowell, which I see as a very good possibility. That's not a bad pick. His #3 team is LaPorte, and then he picks Merrillville. He puts Merrillville at #4 on his top 10 list, yet he says they're going to beat Warren Central. I mean, he basically just killed his whole argument. If he really believes Merrillville's going to be that good, at least put your money where your mouth is and put him number 1 in your top 10 list. He's got Valpo beating Penn, which pretty much always wins sectional 2, and Valpo's not up there. Valpo, I think, was 5th or 6th in his poll. You're not going to put Valpo number 1 or number 2. It makes absolutely no sense to me at all. Putting LaPorte at number 3, you're talking about a LaPorte team that won 1 game in the DAC last season. 1 game. And they beat the second worst team, Lake Central. LaPorte, who won 1 game in the DAC, they made it to the Sectional 2 championship game against Penn, but they beat some pretty crappy opponents in Sectional 2 to do it. And they also lose their best player, which accounted for probably over half of their offense, Carlton Austin, their stud running back. He's gone. He's not coming back. His top 10 makes no sense, but this pick of Warren Central going down to Merrillville, it makes absolutely no sense to me. I don't see any way Warren Central loses this game. If Merrillville puts up more than a touchdown, I would be amazed. Warren Central lost some key players. They lost 8 players that are going to be playing college ball. They also returned 13 starters. 7 on defense. They returned all their linebackers. They returned 3 of their offensive linemen. And they returned the quarterback, Derek Hart, who shredded Merrillville's defense last year. And I don't see any reason to believe he's not going to do it again this year. A lot of people are drinking the Merrillville Kool-Aid. They really think Merrillville is going to be a top team around here. You guys have to remember something. Merrillville is going to have to throw the ball to win this game against Warren Central. They're not going to be able to just pound the ball 25 times. They're not that kind of a team anyway. They're not known to run the ball that much. Zach Popovich is going to have to make plays for Merrillville to win this game. He's going to have to play a great game. He can't just try to manage the game. He has to go out and make big plays to beat Warren Central. I don't think he can do it. And I will finish the video by saying this. If Merrillville somehow beats Warren Central, if they beat Warren Central tomorrow night, on the next video, I will shave my head. I will shave my head if Merrillville beats Warren Central tomorrow night. In fact, if they beat Warren Central, I will personally do everything in my power to get Zach Popovich to come on this show, and I will personally apologize for any criticism, for any lack in believability and what he can do as a player. I will basically give him all the praise in the world and say he's going to be the next great DAC quarterback if they beat Warren Central tomorrow. But that's all I want to say about Wayne. Wayne Svetanoff is an idiot for making that pick, and especially not even willing to back it up. But that's all I got to say. I'll see you next video.